Breaking tonight. President Donald Trump just delivered the longest State of the Union address in American history. And it wasn't just long. It was packed with bold promises, sharp partisan clashes, military honors, protests, boycotts, and a message aimed straight at the heart of the country. This was the first formal State of the Union of his second term, and at nearly 1 hour and 47 minutes, it set a new record for the longest annual presidential address ever delivered to Congress. Before we break it all down, if you care about real political coverage that speaks to all Americans, including the issues that matter deeply to Black families, working families, and communities across this country, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. We cover the facts, the impact, and the real conversations shaping America. Now let's get into it. On Tuesday, February 24, 2026, President Donald Trump walked into the House chamber to deliver what many supporters are calling a defining speech of his second term. He framed his address around what he described as a turnaround of the ages, declaring that the United States is now the hottest country on earth. On the economy, the president pointed to a reported 2.4% inflation rate and what he described as record employment levels. He argued that his administration has stabilized prices, strengthened manufacturing, and restored global confidence in the American economy. Now, here's the full picture. While inflation has cooled compared to peaks of previous years, independent analysts note that job growth has slowed compared to earlier expansion periods. So while the numbers show stability, some economists say the pace of growth has moderated. Supporters argue that steady growth is better than overheated growth. Critics argue the economy still feels tight for everyday Americans, especially when it comes to groceries, rent, and health care. And that affordability issue is especially important in Black communities and working-class neighborhoods, where rising housing costs and everyday expenses hit hardest. The question becomes, are wages keeping up with real life? That debate remains front and center. One of the most dramatic proposals of the night came when President Trump discussed taxes and tariffs. After a recent Supreme Court ruling limited parts of his tariff authority, Trump floated an idea that stunned many in the chamber. He suggested that tariffs on foreign imports could eventually substantially replace the modern federal income tax system. Supporters say that would shift the tax burden away from American workers and toward foreign producers. They argue that it rewards American labor and punishes unfair trade practices. Critics, however, warn that tariffs often raise consumer prices, meaning American families could end up paying more at checkout counters. Economists remain divided on whether such a system could realistically replace income taxes without major economic disruption. The president also doubled down on election policy, urging Congress to pass the Save America Act. That legislation would require proof of citizenship to register for federal elections. Trump argued the bill is necessary to prevent fraud and protect election integrity. He framed it as protecting the voice of legal American voters. Democrats strongly oppose it, arguing there is no evidence of widespread non-citizen voting and warning that requiring documentary proof like passports or birth certificates could prevent eligible citizens from registering. The divide here is clear. One side sees protection of the ballot, the other sees potential barriers to it. Another major announcement centered on artificial intelligence and energy. Trump introduced what he called a ratepayer protection pledge. Under this idea, tech companies building massive AI data centers would be required to construct their own power plants rather than strain local grids and drive up electricity costs for residents. That proposal speaks directly to communities already facing high energy bills. Supporters argue it protects working families from corporate energy spikes. Critics question whether it's logistically feasible and whether it would slow AI innovation in a competitive global race. On housing, the president took aim at corporate investors buying up single-family homes. He called for a permanent ban on institutional investors purchasing those properties, saying he wants homes for people, not for corporations. That line drew applause across much of the chamber.
In many urban areas, including predominantly black neighborhoods, corporate ownership of rental homes has surged, making home ownership harder for first-time buyers. If implemented, such a ban could reshape parts of the housing market, but legal and economic hurdles remain significant. Then there were the retirement proposals. Trump proposed giving private sector workers access to federal-style retirement plans, including a government match of up to $1,000. He also promoted what he called Trump accounts, a $1,000 seed savings account for every newborn American. Supporters say that could help build generational wealth from birth, something many financial experts say is crucial in closing racial wealth gaps. Critics question how it would be funded and whether the long-term impact justifies the cost. The night wasn't only policy, it was ceremony. In a rare State of the Union moment, President Trump awarded the Medal of Honor to 100-year-old Navy Captain E. Royce Williams. He also presented a Purple Heart to National Guard Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf. Regardless of party, moments honoring service members typically unify the chamber, and this was no exception. Applause crossed party lines. The U.S. men's Olympic hockey team attended as guests after winning gold. The president announced he would award goalie Connor Hellebuck the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Then came foreign policy. Amid rising tensions with Iran, Trump stated he prefers diplomacy but made clear he would never allow Iran to obtain a nuclear weapon. That statement drew strong applause from Republicans. Democrats largely remained seated. Vice President J.D. Vance was tapped to lead what the president called a war on fraud, targeting government spending, including allegations raised in Minnesota. Details remain limited, but the message was clear. The administration plans aggressive oversight of federal spending. But the speech was not without controversy. Approximately 50 Democrats boycotted the address entirely. During the speech, Representative Al Green of Texas was ejected after protesting with a sign referencing a controversial social media video. Security escorted him out of the chamber. Outside, several Democratic lawmakers held a People's State of the Union rally on the National Mall, offering an alternative vision and criticizing what they described as economic inequality and immigration failures. Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger delivered the official Democratic response, accusing the president of fueling an affordability crisis and mishandling immigration policy. Now here's where we step back. The State of the Union is traditionally a moment meant to reflect national unity, but it has increasingly become a display of America's political divide. Some Americans watching saw strength, patriotism, and bold economic proposals. Others saw overreach, divisive rhetoric, and policies they believe could limit access and opportunity. But what cannot be ignored is this: the presidency deserves respect, regardless of party. Protests are part of democracy. Disagreement is part of freedom. But how we conduct ourselves in moments of national address reflects on the country as a whole. The office of the president represents the United States of America, all of us. And while debate is healthy, disruption inside the chamber is something many Americans view as crossing a line. At the same time, peaceful protest outside the chamber is a constitutional right. That balance, respect for institutions and protection of free expression, is what defines American democracy. President Trump used this address to lay out an ambitious second-term vision focused on economic restructuring, election security, energy independence, housing reform, and national defense. Democrats responded with warnings about affordability, voting rights, and immigration. And the American people now watch as these proposals move or stall in Congress. The real test will not be the speech, it will be what actually becomes law. If this address showed anything, it's that the stakes remain high. The divisions are real, but so is the opportunity to shape the future of this country. For Black Americans, working Americans, small business owners, veterans, parents, and young voters, the question is simple: which policies improve real life? Which proposals strengthen opportunity? And which ideas need more scrutiny? That conversation continues now.
If you believe in staying informed, thinking critically, and putting America first, no matter your party, make sure you subscribe to this channel. We break down the facts, the impact, and what it means for your family and your future. This is a pivotal moment in American politics. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next report.